Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show today. I'm John Harcar, your host. We're here today with Shane Walsh, and Shane's the founder of Home Equity Income Agreements, and we're going to talk today about how we really hold contractors to the fire. Hey guys, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and really all real estate professionals 2 to 5x their business, which allows them and gives them the tools to build the business they wanted to build and live the life they wanted to live. So, Shane, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Good. I'm super excited to talk about this home equity income agreements. And when I got your form that you filled out about being on the show, I went on your site and looked at it and read it. And you're also an author.
Yeah, we just recently released our apprentice book. Ignore the not for sales down there. But we're trying to same thing as your whole platform. We're trying to educate more people on home ownership,
Sweet.
And then more of the advanced structure levels without having to go to communities and whatnot and pay for that knowledge.
Got it. Okay. Like I said, I'm looking forward to diving into it. We dove into it a little bit before that we got on here, but before we do all that, why don't you kind of share a little bit more about yourself with our audience and how you got here?
Yeah, so I'm a third generation contractor. Started when I was 7, swinging hammers with my dad. Unfortunately or fortunately, he just paid me with knowledge in the construction industry.
Well, like all fathers do.
Yeah. Afterwards, I joined the Marine Corps. Served a contract for 5 years there. Got to go around the country, or the world actually, in Japan. Then afterwards, I decided to go hop into college, or try college out for 2 years over in Australia. So I got around a little bit around the world, got to see different cultures and different economics and whatnot. Decided to drop out of college and come back to the States and start real estate investing.
Interesting.
And jumped straight into fix and flips and Airbnbs. And then just started getting hit and hounded with all the issues in the industry, from homeowners situations, contractor situations, lending situations, title attorney situations, just getting hit left and right. And then from there, we just said stop. I personally had continuous process improvement training in the Marine Corps, CPI training, which, led me to, all right, sit down and restructure this industry. Like, hey, let's simplify these processes and these transactions to make everything smoother for everyone, especially for investors trying to hold contractors self-accountable and then trying to bridge that gap of, all right, what value and pay is this industry between the two?
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I did see that CPI on some of the show notes that you did share us. Share with our audience, how did that really, what specific things really helped you to incorporate that into restarting your business?
Yeah, so continuous process improvement, there's different levels and ranks in it. There's green belt, yellow belt, green belt, black belt. And as you work your way up, it's basically just an entrepreneur kind of business mindset. Really, is you look at a full project of how things run, how things operate, and you just try to test things out. All right, well, if we switch this around, if our quality assurance is this kind of structure, how can we process this to make it smoother, faster, more efficient? The same thing Elon's doing right now in office. I mean, it's
The
just
good old
making things
Doge.
more efficient.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess it could be kind of like an EOS type of deal where you're just kind of refining your processes continually.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Right. So people that learn that kind of knowledge and structure, and there's a process to it. They go out to companies and they go to businesses and they actually offer that service. Like they'll sit down with you and start looking at, all right, here's your current structure, your processes. Let's work through the brainstorming mechanisms and start brainstorming new processes to make this more efficient. And it applies to every business out there. If you're a mechanic, if you're, a laundromat, it applies to everything because it's just that kind of mindset that you're trying to get people into.
Now, did you turn this into a business, or was it just you utilize this just to build your business?
So I just utilized it for our business.
Okay.
Obviously, as an entrepreneur, it's kind of just that mindset. But as that entrepreneur, I just kept getting hit left and right for some reason. So that I sat down and I was like, okay, let's fix the industry rather than just fix my business. And if I can fix the industry, then I can help all these other businesses that are just like me getting hit left and right. And then if I can provide that value to the industry, obviously it's a huge business opportunity.
And that's an applaud to. That's a great abundance mindset, right? Is what's good for for everybody can trickle down into your business or whatever it might be, right? So you got back into real estate. Did you jump right back into fix and flip? Did you do any type of wholesale or anything like that?
So I jumped right into fix and flip, and then got directly into, the hard money side of things, and figuring out, hey, all of this is actually an industry. It's not just an investment, old school where you had to take your own money and go do it yourself. Hey, there's a whole industry here that you can actually learn the underwriting processes. There's an actual process of this. Obviously, there's many different strategies and techniques of processes you can take. But there's some generic ones out there that are pretty standardized already in the industry. So we just hopped into the hard money side of it. And even that at the time, is a very scary thing. You're going online and how can you trust this company that still wants the money? And
You have that barrier that's just like, ooh, who is this guy?
Yeah. So that's where we started fix and flips. Not the best time to start, 2019. But then, the timing and everything got us into, I wouldn't tell anyone to jump into real estate 2007 knowing what happened in 2008.
Right.
But the people who did, and they did, there's plenty of people that started in 2006, 2007. If they stuck through with it, they could either just gave up, or could have just, jotted down, hey, here's all the issues that happened. How do we fix and resolve these issues now? That's the same thing we're seeing this cycle in this season. All right, here's all these issues. Again, how do we fix and solve these and make them more efficient so the next season happens that it's not as bad?
And I think that's important too. It's like a lot of people really don't do that, right? They don't go back and they don't sit and evaluate, because when the good times are good, who wants to go back and look at all this stuff? I mean, who wants to do that? It's good. Why change it? But then when those things creep up on you and you haven't adapted with the times, what happens? So I definitely appreciate that. So now, are you currently still doing flips?
No, so it comes down on a business time kind of scale. Anyone that's doing startups, they understand the time constraint that has.
Of course.
And just a mental state. I could just take our whole business And a lot of people want me to provide that kind of social proof for people. Like, all right, well, how many of my home equity invoice agreement deals have I done?
Mhm.
I tell them, like, look, that's not my business. My business is structure wise is the NAR pretty much. So we're a licensing company that license home equity invoice liaisons, and those liaisons go out there and help contractors and homeowners use that new, not a purchase contract
Mhm.
or a listing contract for realtors, but an actual home equity invoice agreement that converts the contractor's cash invoice into the property's equity percentage. So
Okay.
we just keep that management of all the licensed liaisons out there.
Mhm.
Obviously, I could go do this at any time with my own personal name and business, but that's not our time constraint. You know what I mean? It's a very, very time constraining to get this out there as much as possible.
Yeah.
And the more we can get it out there, the better. So instead of taking, the week or 2 weeks it may take me to go do this myself on individually with a contractor and a homeowner as a
Mhm.
liaison, that's a week I could spend networking and pushing this out to 10 other businesses that can use this.
Yeah. No, I mean that's huge. And I guess I kind of want to reel this back a little bit for a quick second. Explain the NAR for our audience, what that means, people that don't know.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
So the NAR is the National Association of Realtors, which
Okay.
is a group of real estate agents that are branded under the National Association of Realtors.
Got it. Now, I'm an investor or I'm a flipper going to buy a property. And I know the normal processes that we would use, right? We'd get money from a lender, whether it's hard money or it's a private money or whatever. How's your process different? Like if I'm approaching a sell, because if I'm mistaken, this is about JVing kind of with that homeowner, yes?
Right. So home equity invoice agreement is just a joint venture slash deed of trust. And the main thing is that deed of trust part.
Hmm.
Because right now, as a fix and flipper and investor, if I go to those contractors, they don't want to really work with us. So we figured out, all right, let's get those contractors to actually work with us.
Okay.
So what a home equity invoice agreement does as a liaison, as a fix and flipper liaison, there's many ways you can be a liaison and use it.
Hmm.
But if I'm using it as my fix and flip strategy, I would, instead of going to the homeowner, negotiating a price with them and telling him, hey, your home's actually worth this much after repair value, but I
Right.
have all these costs. I have my hard money cost. I have or even if I'm not using hard money, I have my capital cost. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Wherever that money is coming from, you got capital cost on it.
Sure.
I have my transaction cost to purchase the property and put it in my name. And then I have my construction cost. All of those costs, the homeowner has to trust me that I'm telling the truth on those costs, because obviously if I just overinflate those costs, you know what I mean, I
Right.
can try to get the property cheaper than what it is.
Sure.
So we looked at, all right, well, wholesalers and fix and flippers, but we'll stay more focused on the fix and flippers. The main first step is negotiating that purchase price with that
Hmm.
homeowner. So there's our first issue and process that we have to, fix. And then if looking at, all right, the second process of the fix and flip, my capital. All right, my
Okay, well let's
capital
let's
issue.
let's stop here real. Let's go back. What about talk to me about that offer? So, what kind of offer am I making to? I walk in. Am I making a traditional wholesale type of offer? I mean, give me an idea of how this is maybe different.
So we've simplified it so much so that the offer is just you go to the homeowner and say, hey, I can offer you cashless renovations to get this to full market value, and then we all get paid and split those profits. That's the simple, easy 100%, and then you just
I
start
love
working
it.
those numbers out. It's no longer this wholesaling or fixing, flipping negotiation, going back and forth, needing a realtor in between to take care of everything. It's as simple as just being honest and ethical in the
Hmm.
situation. And more than just being honest and ethical with that homeowner, you have a document that's structured that, hey, you can't bullshit them anymore. Like
Right.
what's on that document is what's
It's
going to happen.
plain. Yeah,
Yeah.
black and white. It's right in front of you. Okay, this is awesome. So your company are you guys are liaisons.
Right. So we license the liaisons. So we're the
Okay.
NAR that license realtors.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, we license the liaisons that now those liaisons, they can use it as that fix and flip by just going out and offering that homeowner cashless renovations. And all they're doing now as a fix and flipper is connecting the homeowner with that cashless contractor.
Mm,
And that cashless contractor is those more business investment minded contractors that are
hmm.
willing to upfront whatever their estimate is. If it's a $10,000 estimate, all right, well, I'm pushing that $10,000 to when the property actually sells,
Got it.
rather than getting paid cash up front.
Got it. Okay. So basically, pay for what you've done, you eat what you kill kind of thing, I guess you could say. That's awesome. So how has this, I guess let's go over a little of the pros and cons of this versus how we would traditionally do a wholesale and or fix and flip.
So the pros is obviously the simplicity of it. Hey, I can just go to the homeowner, offers cashless renovations. I don't have to worry about negotiating all the time frame. It makes my lead generation cost way, way cheaper.
Hmm.
Traditionally, if you're a wholesaler or fix and flipper, you're paying anywhere between $40 to $150 per lead of a distressed property homeowner. We're paying about $7.
Wow.
And it's the same questionnaire, same property, same
Yeah.
motivation as the homeowner, and that gives you the gauge of like, okay, how appealing is this to homeowners compared to our traditional fix and flip offers to homeowners. So
Sure.
just even on that first interaction, we're already cutting so much cost. The second thing goes into, all right, well, when I purchase the property, I have all my capital costs. Well, all your capital costs are gone now because that's not your business anymore. You no
Right.
longer have to provide that capital value as a fix and flipper to get that property renovated and fixed. Now I'm having the homeowner cover the purchase because they already own it, and
Hmm.
then I'm having the contractor cover his contracting price that currently is probably
Until it
overinflated
sells.
in the industry.
Right. Yeah.
Wow. And even if that's not capable and there's some kind of liquidity need, that's where the liaison can provide the minimum liquidity to that contractor to get that project done.
To
So
get it right.
traditionally in hard money, you'll pay around 10 to 15% down of the
Hmm.
purchase and the renovation cost. Um, but now, hey, I'm only paying minimum probably material and some labor of the construction cost. So I'm no longer upfronting purchase prices of construction.
Man, that's ingenious. I mean, I mean, I've known of folks JVing with a homeowner and coming in and I'll pay for the flip, right, and then we'll just split the profits when we're done, that type of thing. How are you finding these cash? Was it what did you say? Cashless renovation?
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Guys, how are you finding the ones that are willing to do that?
So that's where it comes into, hey, I'm uniquely qualified to be able to structure this kind of business because I understand I'm a third generation contractor. I know exactly what the issues are in the mentality of a
Yeah, it's
contractor.
not like you're right off the boat. Like, yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
yeah.
an investor trying to just,
Say I
sell it
know
to
how
the
to do that
contractor.
rehab, but yeah.
Yeah. So the main thing comes down to, hey, contractors, even though they are already technically, tied to the property, as soon as they step foot on that and do any work on that property, legally they're still tied to that property. They can go file a material lien, whether they had a good contract with it or not.
Hmm.
But they understand the issues with those material liens. You know what I mean? Sometimes those material liens don't happen and they, fall short and just never get paid.
Yeah.
So we looked at, all right, well, how do we make sure that contractors get paid no matter what? So we went all the way to the top. Banks and lenders, they always get paid no matter what. So we
Yeah.
took the same tool that they use, the deed of trust, and we brought it down to the contractor and we simplified it. Instead of using all this financial jargon in the industry, we just say, hey, this is an invoice agreement, even though it's an actual joint venture deed of
Hmm.
trust
Hmm.
on the back end as the tool security. And that's, if they start questioning, like, oh, well, I'm not going to get paid. I'd rather get paid. No, you're getting paid as secured as the bank gets paid.
Yeah.
Um, and this is where we provide that security and that knowledge bridge gap for them. And the liaisons can provide that to them to those contractors, and that's the extra value the liaison provides for the deal,
Mm-hmm.
of being able to bridge that gap for those contractors and homeowners, to know that, hey, as soon as the contractor starts, he knows he's getting paid as long as he's performing on the contract.
Right.
Now the cons, is all right, well, what happens if the property doesn't sell? What happens if the property actually sells less than what everyone thought it was supposed to sell on?
Mm-hmm.
There's certain structures inside of that deed of trust. Same thing with the lien. You have to perfect the lien before you can actually claim the lien on a property. The
Right.
same structure we put on that deed of trust. Look, there's this procedure that you got to do after you're done with the work. You got to get signed off from the homeowner, and then it perfects the deed.
Hmm.
So the cons is, all right, well, even if I perfect my deed, my home equity invoice agreement, and let's say the property tanks 5%, 10%, and the market
Mhm.
is less, we have a stop loss on it. So we made sure contractors right now, you go to them and say, hey, what's your material price as a fix and flipper? You know what I mean? They don't want to show you.
No, heck no.
We force them to show them of like, look, you have to put your hard cost on there, your material and labor, and then put your business profit separate. And then that hard cost, that material and labor, is a floor for them. So even if the markets tank and whatnot, they're still
They're still going to get a little paid.
yeah, they're going to get that hard cost at least paid, and be able to track down the homeowner even on their credit side afterwards. But it's still 100% asset based is what the agreement is. But that's where the cons come in. But we structured it, all right, well, let's protect all these cons in the industry of if it tanks,
Mm-hmm.
if the contractor doesn't perform, if someone's lending the contractor their capital,
Yeah.
their minimum capital, what happens if that lender stops performing? Because even in the fix and flip industry, we've had it. You submit
all
a
know what
draw
happens.
request, and I've had it where I've waited over a month long to get
Right.
money back to be able to pay my contractors out. So it's been, even on the lending side, we've looked like, all right, let's look at the cons on the lending side. What happens when the lender doesn't actually perform their duty? Well,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? That lender is going to lose out on all of their equity on that agreement if they don't actually perform. So now we're even holding not just contractors self-accountable, but
And
lenders
lenders.
self-accountable.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Do you have a legal background at all, or did you have to go like hire a lawyer to rewrite some of this paperwork or change? I mean, how did you come up with all that?
So my legal background actually started in the Marine Corps. Obviously, it's a government, we're a entity business, but a lot of the policies in the support equipment licensing and training over in Okinawa, I wrote not a good portion, but I wrote some of the policies in there that are still in use today, for the equipment and the training and whatnot. So I already knew how to structure things, the semantics with words and language and whatnot, and then just diving into the issues, on my actual fix and flip investing journey. I got hit with two title attorneys that screwed me over. And you pay them and you're their client, but they screwed me over and didn't take any self accountability for checking the documents, making sure the documents are worded and properly corrected.
Wow.
So I was the one left holding the bill, even though I paid them to check everything. So it came down to, all right, well, these attorneys and lawyers are also not abiding by anything. You know what I mean? They're not self-accountable or doing anything. They get a
Yeah, well, there's a
paycheck
lot
and
of
they're
a
done.
lot of things that people aren't really held accountable for much these days. It seems like.
So it came down to like, all right, well, if a lawyer can do it, I can do it.
Sure.
And that's what it came down to. So I started, drafting and structuring the document, and then, sent it to the attorneys and lawyers so that, I can have their checkbox legally on it, and whatnot. But a lot of the intellectual property protection of our contract is the structure of it, not
Right.
just the legal formalities and the semantics of, the words and the language on it. So it just came back, going back and forth between attorneys and myself, to structure this, and just even attorneys, you know what I mean? This is just an attorney document, it's
Right.
just a legal document. So you'd think any attorney out there, and a lot of them are in real estate, would already do this. But they don't have the continuous process mindset or structure mindset of seeing what's fair for every side, not
Sure.
just the titles side or not just for the lender's side.
Right. Not
No,
just for
hey,
for everybody. Yeah.
yeah, it's about playing the game fairly for each side so that everyone starts playing the game more and faster,
Yeah.
and everything starts moving around. So my legal background is very, very minimum, but my
Hey,
confidence and my risk level is very high.
it sounds like you put together a pretty sweet little plan. What does your team look like now? What does your business look like now?
You're looking at them.
One man show.
One man show. Um, and more than just a one man show. Obviously, I have teams of hired services,
Hmm.
but the actual team of this business is just myself, and then obviously hiring third parties and whatnot to structure the documents legally, properly wise, and then we push out. Our liaisons are pretty much our partners. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
every liaison we license, every new fix and flipper, wholesaler, realtor, lender out there that we license under this to use this is pretty much partnering and teaming up with us, just like how every realtor is part of the NAR. Every home equity invoice liaison is now a part of us. So our team is pretty much all of our liaisons.
Okay. What type of cost is involved in becoming a liaison?
So right now we've looked at, hey, everyone's familiar with the NAR lawsuits that are all coming out.
Yep.
So, we're going to get hit with the same stuff. Not the same, incidents, but there's always 10 to, percent. Usually someone's going to bitch, moan, and complain, as that we say in the Marine
Sure.
Corps. And
Always.
in the Marine Corps, everything has to be 100% perfect, but there's
Right.
always 10%, no matter what. And we know it's coming.
Yeah.
So that 10% that's eventually going to come, that's what we're going to have to get hit wise. So we looked at, all right, well, what's every of the boots on the ground say about that? Because they're the ones that actually affected, you know what I mean?
Right. Of course.
NAR has the lawsuits and they have to do whatever, but the people who are affected are the people that have to actually use their agreements and stuff. So we looked at, all right, realtors, what did you think about the NAR and their whole lawsuits? And they said, well, hey, a $300 license to do this stuff, to be able to consult and manage properties for people
Hmm.
is way too low. So we said, all right, well, we don't have the testing and all that stuff organized right now. So we said, all right, well, our barrier entry is people that are actually in the industry already. And to prove that you're in the industry already is simply, hey, a monetary kind of figure. Obviously, you
Right.
can have plenty of people monetary already have those resources and get into this.
Hmm.
But obviously they have to, get licensed through me. So I have to, sit down with them, make sure that they're got some kind of background, understand the state licensing that you will need if you're going to use it for this. But
Hmm.
if you're not and you're using it for this, you can go ahead and use it.
Does it
Just to
work in
make
all states?
Yeah, this works currently nationally.
Okay.
There are going to be nuances that even your title attorney that you take it to, they're going to, again, bitch, moan, and complain. There's going to be 10% of them out there. At that point, the liaisons and everyone just come back to us, and we just negotiate and talk to that title agent. All right, you want this semantic word in there? We'll put that semantic word in there. But hey, we have to make sure that we're the referees on this, just like the NAR are the referees of the listing agreements. Hey, you can't do this because it crosses this person's structure of protecting the homeowner, or protecting the lender, or protecting the contractor.
Hmm.
And then, it goes back and forth. Like, most of those title attorneys will, wise up and like, okay, I see why that's in there and why I can't do this. You know what I mean? I can't overprotect myself as the title attorney, and put this clause in there. Like, no, you can't, because you need to put that risk in there too,
Sure.
if you're hopping on this property. Sorry,
So
I lost
no,
track of the
no, it's
question.
okay. Give me a quick little elevator pitch. How could this help? If I'm a real estate professional, whether it's an investor, flipper, agent, whatever it is, how does it help my business?
So if we're looking at business metrics, we're looking at, all right, what's your lead generation cost? Wholesalers, fixers, and realtors, they're spending 50 to 150 bucks, sometimes even more, time wise, if they're cold calling and not lead generation,
Hmm.
or paying for leads. That time still adds up too, which costs more than that in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're paying yourself even $10 an hour and you're spending a month long to secure a lead, you know what I
That's
mean?
a
You're
lot of money.
spending almost $2,000-$3,000 just
Yeah.
to secure that lead. So just turning at that, hey, your lead generation is down to $7. So much so that we offer actually the leads for free. So if you're a liaison with
Wow.
us
Okay.
and we have an overflow of homeowners that need liaisons to help bridge that gap with contractors, we just give them to you for free, because we're not a liaison business trying to do this ourselves. We're trying to
Hmm.
get more people to do it.
Yeah, I love it.
So we give the leads out for free, or we teach you how to set up the lead generation to get those $7 leads, which is just, your current advanced marketing for Facebook, Google,
Facebook, or all your
analytic
SEO
ads.
type of stuff. Yeah.
Right. And then you look at, all right, well, what's my overhead cost as the business? Well, as the overhead cost, I have my capital expenses, which is, again, purchasing the property and the renovation costs. How do we
Mhm.
solve that for the fix and flipper, wholesaler, and the realtor to do that? Obviously, the realtor doesn't have that issue because they're just listing the property, and the
Yep.
wholesaler doesn't have that issue because they're just flipping the contract. So, but the fix and flipper has the issue, and that's the value they bring the market. And everyone knows the fix and flipper is the one that's supposed to be making the more of the money, but it doesn't usually
But it doesn't
happen.
always happen that way. No,
Yeah.
not in these times.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's the issue in the industry is fix and flippers. Hey, even if you're using hard money, there's a 30% gap in there that you have to leave in there. But guess
Yeah.
what? You have all these other service providers, the realtor, the title agent, the contractors, extra fees,
Mhm.
that eat, and you're only left with about 5 to 10%. And that's a
Yeah.
very unhealthy business.
No,
Every business should
can't
keep,
survive that way.
at least a 20 or 30% business profit margin in there.
Sweet.
So we looked at, all right, well, let's look at the overhead cost from the highest point, the fix and flippers, the capital expenses. Well, how do we get the capital expenses out? And there's different ways you can do it. There's different strategies out there with sub two, seller financing and whatnot, which gets into a little bit more complexity of like, hey, you still hold the deed, but I'm taking over the deed, but I'm still paying for your mortgage and whatnot. We just simplified it to like, okay, no, you just keep everything the same, the normal, whatever you're doing right now. And I'm just going to come and bridge the gap of, hey, getting this contractor to pay and cover the renovation cost.
Have you ever had a situation where at the end of that, the homeowner's like, no, I love this. I'll pay the contractor, but I'm not selling it.
So this gets brought up a lot. It's like, okay, well, what about the contract? What if the homeowner doesn't want to sell in 6 months like a normal flip? What if he wants to hold on for 3 or 4 years and just wants the renovations to have a new kitchen, or he wants the renovations to have a new deck? And there's a lot of the homeowners out there. That's any homeowner that wants any renovation out there. So now we're not just opening into investor mindset homeowners. We're opening it up to all construction out there of, hey, cashless renovations for homeowners. And the biggest issues for contractors, their current strategy to be able to offer that to homeowners is going to, again, third-party banks and lenders.
And then still getting that money, yeah.
Yeah, any contractor that offers homeowner financing, they're not offering it in-house because they don't know how to structure it like the bank or lender.
Yeah.
And the bank and lender is doing the same thing. They're taking their tool, the deed of trust and the promissory note, and they're doing it for the contractor.
Well,
So we took that tool from the bank and lenders and simplified it for the contractors to use. To where now the contractor's position as the equity holder, and now the lenders can lend to the contractor directly instead of lending to the homeowner and then the homeowner paying the contractor, which is already an issue in the lending side because now as soon as they give the cash to the homeowner for their equity, I don't know what they're spending it on. They can spend it on anything.
Yeah.
But if I'm a lender and I'm paying directly the contractor his liquid needs and its minimum liquid needs, and it's tied to the actual hard cost that's documented and not their inflated business profit, then I have as a lender a direct 100% hard money.
Yeah.
So I'm not, as a hard money lender, purchasing a property and have purchase price inflated in there and then also the inflated business construction cost in there. No, I am directly lending directly to the hard material cost of that property. So even if that deed of trust, messes up, and it does in the lending world, a lot of people don't understand that promissory notes and deed of trust are two separate assets and documents. And if they're not tied together 100%, which a lot of lenders and these note sellers in the background are selling and buying notes, they're messing up because they break that title and that connection to the actual real property.
Right.
And their whole note can get wiped off. People don't understand, like, if you have a lender on your property, if they did some shady stuff in the background and didn't publicly make it known through a couple different agencies that they're legally required to, that's gone. So if you have a $200-$300 hard money lender on it, note on it, it's possible that note is null and void, like gone.
We can go over this stuff forever.
Side no one wants to know about, and that's the 2008 market we're currently in.
Yeah.
Because that's, as the lending business and the finance side, we have to sell and buy notes to keep our assets and our balance sheets good.
Well,
if we have a bad asset that isn't paying, hey, I'm want to sell that note, just like I want to sell the property, but I can't sell the property because the owner owns that, but I own the note, so I can sell the note at least. And there's shady ways people are doing, not shady ways. I mean, some are doing shady, but they're ignorant to actually learning the actual full business. It's just like any business owner. Like we just hop into and we learn as we go most of the time. The same thing with all the finance guys out there. They're business entrepreneurs. They hopped into it and they're learning as they go. But a lot of people
unfortunately, we're running a little bit out of time here. Yeah, I can talk to you about this for a long time, but and I appreciate you coming on and sharing all this. This is ingenious. I mean, I really like the fact that it's holding people to the fire, and it's like, perform and get paid. If anyone wants to learn more about this, about you, what you're working on, where do they go?
Just wealthtrading.com. You'll be able to take a picture of that.
We'll put it in the notes.
Yeah, or just Google home equity invoice agreement and it should pop right up. We've been spending the last 6 months just straight content to get that, out there. So when anyone, looks it up or hears about it, they can easily find it.
Sweet.
And we'll send you a copy of our apprentice book.
Awesome. Man, that'd be great.
Goes down through the, just the different industries and whatnot and the corruptions that are in there. We call it our Jerry Maguire mission statement to the industry. If you remember,
I love it.
Tom Cruise movie.
I love it.
And then, so we'll send you over a copy, the ebook version, and you can give it to your audience
Cool.
and whatnot.
We'll talk offline.
Yeah, the full scope of the industry to empower yourself of, all right, well, this is every other person's objective, and now I can gear myself towards all right, I'm not going to let them overplay their objective,
right?
Because now I'm knowledge empowered to go do this. Obviously, there's some home equity invoice agreement put in there to see how it revolutionizes traditional real estate industries. But the main of the apprentice book is just to empower people of the full scope of the business, because once you have the full scope of the business, you can personally continuous process improvement mindset the whole thing for yourself.
Awesome.
But if you're missing 3 or 4 different industries or pieces, you can't continuous process improvement it because there's all these hidden fogs of war and unknowns for you.
So guys, go out there and get the book. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, man. It was a mind blow. It was a really awesome, I appreciate your time once again, Shane. And you guys, we'll see you on the next show.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.